Last Thursday night, the 46 Gratton Cup Series drivers returned to the track in anger with the Daytona pre-season testing, in which Henrik Waugh was the fastest of the 46 drivers in that session, putting together a 45.848. Well, tonight, that time has made him the last driver to go out in this session here at the Daytona International Speedway. It's time for Daytona 500 single car qualifying, and we will determine the front row for the Daytona 500 here at the Daytona International Speedway. Hello everybody and welcome to Daytona International Speedway, Daytona Beach, Florida. We're here for single car qualifying, as I just mentioned before. And tonight, it's going to be a long one because we're going to get all 46 cars on the racetrack, and we're going to see who qualifies on the front row for the Daytona 500. My name's Stuart Gratton. I'll be on the call with you tonight. We'll have Matt Tuck throughout the broadcast. I'll introduce him here in a second properly. He's the team owner at Team Velocita. But I want to firstly talk about this session specifically and what it will entail. So tonight, single car qualifying. All 46 cars in the field will get one lap within a 5-minute window. The top two fastest car in this session, as I described, will start on the front row for the Daytona 500, regardless of what happens in the duel. Now, we've got 16 cars that will need to qualify or race their way in, dependent on whether it's tonight or in the duels. And the top two of those 16 drivers, and we'll keep you updated, there'll be graphics on the left side of the screen. The top two of those eligible drivers will be locked into the Daytona 500. Everyone else will be sorted in the duels on Thursday, which will be a little bit more complicated. We'll explain that then as well. The drivers that qualify in odd positions here tonight, so whoever's quickest, whoever finishes third quickest, fifth quickest, etc., all the way down to 45th quickest, will start in duel number 1, and then even positions, so 2nd, 4th, 6th, all the way down to 46th, will be in duel number 2, unless there's an uneven number of uncharted cars in each duel, in which it depends on, who starts alongside who, and it depends on which duel as well. So we'll figure that out and we'll talk it through at the end of the video. And so, with that all explained, we're just waiting for our first driver to get out onto the racetrack. The first driver up here is Caleb Rose. We'll see when he is ready to roll, because he's taking a while. There he is, number 32. Tide Kroger Toyota for Pacific Racing. Now, he is one of these 16 guys that does have to qualify their way in, and it's funny actually, because he's the first car out in that 32. You look at the 62, his teammate Thomas Troxell, he's the second last car to go out. So, and then Bradyn Perez is also pretty early on, who's in the 92. So we'll talk about all those guys when we get to them. It's a good spread of drivers across the field, so we don't have all the 16 guys that need to race their way. They're not all right next to each other, which is good. But Caleb Rose coming into this session was the slowest driver in Group 2, slowest driver overall in the pre-season test. And we'll see what he can do here in this number 32. He's, as I said before, had a pretty good GRL campaign, but he's struggled in the SRL. Really did struggle in terms of results over there. Finished well down. I think it's just inside the top 30 from memory. He finished top 10 in the GRL points as he hits the track now. And as we talked about at the time, this is a team, Pacific Racing, that, are going to be hopeful that they could be one of the better Toyota teams this year. And we talked about that a little bit before, but in the pre-season test, they're hopeful that they can make some noise this year in their first season in the Cup Series. This is also the night version of Daytona, so we'll see if that makes any kind of difference on the time. So Rose's time in the preseason test was a 46.678, but that was when he was in a pack. All of these are, you're on your own. You got one lap to get it right. And we'll see what the number 32 could do here, as he's the first driver out And he will start his flying lap now. You see the timer there at the top of your screen. That's how long you have before to get your single lap off. And we'll see what kind of time this 32 could do, and it'll be the benchmark for the field. Goes all the way down the back straight. And now sails it off into turn number 3. You'll see throughout this session, they run that kind of high groove here at this variant of Daytona. The middle groove, not really high, but run the middle groove instead of running the bottom. Certainly through the turns, and even here through the tri-oval is a little bit further up. And a 47.747 for Caleb Rose. That's the first time. We'll see how well it stacks up here for the number 32. Here is the second car out, single car qualifying. The first of the guys the first of the drivers that are locked into the Daytona 500. This is Richard Fridge in the number 20 for Seminole Motors. This is his home race, and this is his team's home race. He's of course the owner driver, Seminole Motors, and had a very successful rookie campaign back in season 5, where made the chase, finished top 10 in points, and had a very, very strong campaign. And his team were very quick here in both the day and night races. Led the most laps with Carter Friesen in the 500, and then Noah Clifton in the 400. Neither driver could win those races, but it showed a lot of speed. And let's see here. We're going to actually go to this view because it is actually better for the graphics, and we can actually get a gauge on what kind of time that the number 20 will put out there. Let's see, 187, 188. Of course, another thing with this Daytona, unlike the previous Daytona 500, these ones have restrictor plates. And that is something to remember, because these times aren't going to be anywhere near as good. We got into the 40s. It was like a 40.5 the pole back in season 5. Well, Caleb Rose just did a 47.7. So let's see what Richard Fridge can do here. He's locked in the 500, so doesn't have to worry too much about where this time puts him. 47.194, so that's a fair bit quicker too than Caleb Rose's time. But he goes to the top of the board in the number 20. Here is the third car out in this session. Daniel Paulus Jr. in the number 63 for Team Velocita, and perhaps a little bit of worry going into this 500 to the Honda engines. And a lot of the Honda drivers are not really having a great run, to be honest, because Duncan Ward's the highest. Was the Honda with the fastest time, and yet he's only the first half of the field in terms of total speed. So, or the bottom half of the field, I should say, in total speed. So, maybe perhaps a little bit of concern, but Paulus, a true rookie to the series in the 63 for Team Velocita. We'll see what he could do as he starts his flying lap now. 183 across the line. I held it there for a fair while. 84, 85. Back down to 184. Let's see what kind of time he could do. 186, 187, 188. So, I don't know if this is going to be quicker than Richard Fridge's time. And Fridge's time could be really good here, considering his preseason test time was a 46.5. He's put together a 47.1 on his own. So that's not a bad time for the 20, all things considered. About 5.5 tenths ahead of Caleb Rose's time is quite significant, really, straight off the bat. Paulus is locked into the 500, so he won't have to worry about where this puts him overall. A 47.513, so he slots into second place. So kind of in that midpoint between Fridge's time and Rose's time. So second quickest for the number 63. Here's the fourth car out, another Honda, this time for Nicotech Racing. This is Kian Raleigh in the number 10. And Nicotech, of course, I talked about in the preseason test. 32 wins in 148 Cup races. 33 overall. have been such a successful team over the journey. And Raleigh here in the number 10. 4 career wins in the Cup Series. Happy to make it 5 in this Daytona 500. He's locked in to this race, so doesn't have to worry about it. And let's see what kind of time he could put together here in the number 10. The time to beat is a 47.194. This one already looks a little bit quicker than what Paulus was able to do. Carrying, blip back to 184 for a minute, 186, 187. It's a little bit quicker than Paulus's. I don't know if this will be quicker than Fridge's, but we'll see what he could do. 192. See what kind of time he does going, what speed he's got up to here into turn 3. Gets to 193 before having to blip back down to 192. Going in that middle groove, we talked about it before. So let's see here. Kian Raleigh, I don't know if this is going to be quick enough for top spot, but we'll see if he can go second quick. He's actually losing speed there at the end of 47.413. So he goes to the second position. He's a 10th quicker than Paulus in that number 10. So interesting time. We'll see where it stacks up compared to everyone else. Here is the number 43, Roberto Crown Jr. for Fitzwater Australia Racing. And Crown, a rookie to the series, like Caleb Rose. Saw earlier on. Unlike Caleb Rose, Crown is locked into the 500, so doesn't have to stress too much about where this time ends up here. Valvoline Dodge. As I said before, this team hoping to make some inroads in what's been a frustrating few years in the series. And Crown finished 17th in the Samsung Offline Racing League points and finished 23rd in the GRL Cup Series, GRL points I should say. This is their first start first attempt here in this series, and carrying 185 all the way through turn 2 there, which was a bit different to what we saw from Kian Raleigh. Or was it Paulus? I don't even remember. It was one of those two. I want to say it was Raleigh. He hits 193 right there. And now sails it off into 3 and 4. So this time for Richard Fridge, by the way, a 47.194 is 2/10 up on everyone else at the moment. And I don't think Crown... this is going to be a better time, I think, for Crown, although, again, they drop off here at the end of the lap, 47.379. So it does out-qualify Raleigh, gets to second. But that time is going to be very hard to beat for Richard Fridge. Good time for Crown, though. Second quickest overall. Nicely done. Next car out here is Bradyn Perez, the second Pacific Racing car we've seen here in this session. Now, Perez, he has to race his way in, but he has a different scenario. He's the only one of the field that has this scenario. He actually has, because he won the Samsung Offline Racing League, driving for this team and this sponsor, Hulu and Pacific Racing as a whole. Because he won the championship, he actually is technically locked in, but he's also, he has a past champions provisional, basically. So he could still qualify top 2 tonight, and he would be locked in, and he wouldn't have to fall back on it. If he's not in the top 4 in the duel that he is in, then he will have to use that past champions provisional if he doesn't get it on the speed. Look, there's a lot to it. It's quite confusing, I suppose, but we'll see what he can do here in this 92, and this is not a good lap. We could straight away tell that, because he's going off into the turn at 183 miles an hour, and that it's just not quick enough. See, at this point, you're going 187, so this is going to be one of the slower times here for Bradyn Perez. I'm sure he's not too fussed, given that he has that past champion provisional to fall back on. But this is not going to be the quickest lap time here for the 92, so we'll see what he can do here out of turn 4. He's back down to 189. This will be, I think this will end up being, it'll be probably 5th or 6th quickest so far. Let's see if he's quicker than his teammate Rose. No, he's not. 47.840. So the slowest time so far for Bradyn Perez. Alright, so 7th car out is the Gratton Racing League champion, Rogal Dorn, driving for Premier Racing Motorsports. and very, very confident about his chances this year and what he can do. We've actually got a couple of drivers up in the booth now with us. So Matthew Hubert, driving for Hairgel Motorsports, and Ludovic Charette for Gratton Autosport. I'll start with you, Matthew. Rogal Dorn, someone that you got to watch on last year as a team owner, and you got to see what he was able to do in the Gratton Racing League. Just what do you think about Rogal and what he could do this year? Because he's a pretty good talent.
Yeah, I assume so. He should have a decent car underneath him. He has a bit of experience, actually, with this kind of thing. Especially with running 4 cars in the GCS last year and still winning the championship. That just shows you how talented Rogal Dorn is, and I expect him to do decently well.
Absolutely. We'll see what kind of time this is. I don't think this is going to be the quickest time, but it will be certainly better than what Bradyn Perez just put together. So that's a positive, I suppose. He is also locked into the 500, so that's not an issue for the 04. In fact, we have a whole group of drivers that are locked in now that are coming up. It's a pretty good drivers at that as well. So this won't be quickest, but we'll see where he goes at the end of all this. 47.635. So that is 5th quickest for Rogal Dorn. So he slots in between Paulus and Caleb Rose. 8th car out here in this session, and what a driver we've got coming out onto the racetrack. Dawson Miller here in the number 48 for Nicotech Racing. We've already seen Kian Raleigh go out on the racetrack. He's currently got the 3rd quickest time. We'll see if Miller can improve on what Raleigh was able to do. I'll go to you, Ludovic, because you did quite well in the pre-season test session, although that was in a drafting session instead of the single car format that we've got going here. You're quite late on in the session. So given that you have to race your way in yourself, I mean, what do you hope to get from this single car qualifying session?
Inside lane, preferably. Otherwise, it's Daytona, so it's nice to get to shake up a bit the car to feel it a bit, but ultimately the session isn't the most capital as long as you can make your way up through the ranks. But it's certainly going to be interesting. I think, I don't know, maybe top 30 would be nice, I think. So somewhere top 30 would be alright.
Yeah, we'll see, because, I mean, perhaps that's what's happened with Rose and Perez. Their times are quite slow, so maybe they're focusing more on the race itself, the duels themselves, qualify the way in. This lap time's not going to be the quickest either. I tell you what, that Richard Fridge time, that second time that he put out there, it's going to be pretty hard to beat if this is any indication, because these are guys that high quality that are getting nowhere near it at the moment, as Miller is actually the 6th, he's barely quicker than Caleb Rose, so not a good lap time there for the 48. A long way off the pace. Here is Nicolas Samudio in the number 45, rookie to the series, but did race in SRL and GRL and did quite well in both those series, so expecting a bit out of this 45 this season, and he is the sister car to the current fast man, Richard Fridge. So Seminole Motors, they brought quick cars here last year. Looks like they're bringing quick cars at the moment. We've got Team Velocity team owner now in the booth, Matt Tuck. And Matt, I mean, we've seen what this guy can do. He's a very consistent driver. He's a fast driver. What are you expecting out of this lap time here for the 45?
Yeah, I mean, him and his teammates have all been pretty quick. I mean, obviously Richard Fridge has provisional pole at the moment, so I think it's a good sign for Samudio. So we'll just, we will see what this 45 car can do here around Daytona.
Gets into he's stuck on 184 there for a little bit, so I don't know if this is going to be a pole time, but it's certainly going to be better than what we've seen in the last few runs. If this is any indication, it may go second. We'll see how he goes into turns 3 and 4. This may be quicker than Roberto Crown's time. It'd be a Seminole Motors 1 and 2 if that were to be the case. 192, 191. 190 off the turn. So this won't be quicker than his teammate, but will this be quicker than Roberto Crown's time as he hits through the tri-oval to the line? No, he goes 4th quickest. So it wasn't even quicker than Kian Raleigh's time. So 47.462 for Nicolas Samudio. Here is the first of the 4 DW Motorsport Fords. They're hitting the racetrack here tonight. Collin Denton in the number 21. Finished outside the chase last season, so there's a lot of pressure on him to perform for this team. They have the highest expectations, higher than anybody else. And didn't do that well in this session last year either. So again, there's a lot of pressure on Collin Denton. Matthew, when you're under a bit of pressure, I suppose, how do you go and prepare for a lap like this, knowing that there's a lot at stake for I know he's locked in, but there's a lot at stake this year for this 21.
It's gonna be a bit more difficult than usual to get a decent lap in, but I believe with more experience than some of the drivers running this season, he should have a bit more at ease, getting a decent run here. We'll see what going through. It looks like he is 192 down the back straightaway right now.
Oh, just barely tickled 193 there heading into turn 3. We saw with Richard Fridge's time, he was able to carry 193 for quite a while into turn 3. So, again, this probably won't be the quickest time, but this will be up there. We'll see what he can do. 189 across the line. 47.474. So it's actually a little bit slower. Maybe struggled to get up to speed on that lap, perhaps, because it looked all right through 3 and 4. But he goes to the 5th position in the number 21. Tyson Gifford in the number 7 is the 11th car out. Now, this is a guy that you're going to have to watch. For those who are not aware, don't know the history of this series. This guy has a 100% strike rate at this track in the Daytona 500. He's won the very first race, Season 1. He won the Season 3 Daytona 500 as a owner driver. He's back as an owner driver. It's only his 2nd full-time season, though. He was a part-time owner driver in Season 3. So it's going to be very interesting to see what this number 7 can do, Ludovic.
Yes, it'll be interesting. Didn't seem to the great preseason test, but that doesn't say a lot considering you're just focusing on single runs. We're gonna see here. I think this corner is gonna be capital.
Yeah, 184 through the turn. So again, just unable to really get up to as much speed as he saw from the 20. So Richard Fridge could well be on here, given what everyone else has done so far. We're only 10 cars in now, or 11 cars in at the end of this lap. But even then, 191 off into turn 3. So perhaps this 7 car is focused more on the race car than a qualifying car, which is fair enough. Give yourself a better chance of winning the 500. He comes down out of turn 4 now through the tri-oval. This will not be anywhere near the top of the line. It is a 47.722. He goes 8th quickest overall. So, yeah, very interesting times we've seen so far. We're about a quarter of the way through. Here comes the most experienced driver in the field, Dominic Anthony, the number 39. He's made every race in this series, the Gratton Cup Series. And he's also made 20 starts at Samsung Offline Racing League, and actually was very close to winning that championship that season. Finished 3rd in points, which is, out of all the series he's been, is actually the best he's run. But he won the pole here in Season 1 back in almost a decade ago now, 2016. A long, long time ago. Driving the number 14 at the time for Stuart Haas Racing, because we had equal ratings in the 2016 Cup mod. But Matt, how much does the experience make a difference here for you in terms of what we're going to see from Anthony on this lap? And radio silence. That's all good. We'll see what the 39 could do here on this lap. Gets 185 into the turn. So this is a good start here for Anthony, because 185. Oh, he's that old there. That was really good turns 1 and 2. He's the first guy we've seen go 185 and actually carry it all the way through, because even Fridge couldn't quite keep it 185 the whole way through. So this is going to be a pretty good lap for the number 39. right on the back of what we saw from Tyson Gifford. A very different start to their laps. 192 through turn 3 and 4, and then back down to 191 through turn 4. Let's see. This is going to be close. This is going to be real close. Is it enough for Dominic Anthony to go to the top? Not quite. 47.368. So he does go second quickest, but in the end, still a fair way in the end behind Richard Fridge's time. So that 20 right in contention here for the pole. There's no doubt about that. But Anthony goes second quickest. Here comes the number 18 of Bryce Eagan for Gratton Autosport. No bias in this one. But Bryce was the latest addition to the series. He's a true rookie, but Matt, you've seen him in a variety of other series. He's a very, very capable driver. He has to qualify his way in. The time to beat currently is a 47.840. What are your expectations for this lap?
I mean, we'll see if he can get this thing wound up to speed. I think these Gratton Autosport cars traditionally have been more race threats than quality pace threats here at Daytona, but I mean, Bryce knows what he's doing. It'll be cool, to get this car up here on the front roll. 183 in the corner. It's not bad. I don't think he's going to top the front row, but it's definitely not a bad lap so far.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be quicker right now. It'll be quicker than Perez. I can almost just guarantee you that. But where he ends up falling into, will it be quicker than Rose's time? And of course, you've got another 13 drivers who are still trying to, they have to qualify their way in, including Andy Thomas, who's up next in the 73. We'll see here what kind of time Bryce Eagan can do. 188 as he heads into the tri-oval now. Won't be the quickest time. 47.791. So he does beat Perez, but he's not quicker than Rose. So he's the second slowest driver in that number 18. So we'll see where he falls into all this at the end of the session. Annie Thomas in the number 73 for Melee Motorsports. Single car operation this season. Fascinating history. Melee Motorsports. So ran from seasons 3 and 4. They merged with what is now Premier Racing Motorsports, and then decided, you know what, I'm going to come back anyway. Run a team again. They bought out the 44 from Smart Motorsports at the back end of season 5, and now they get a full opportunity here with the 73. And so we'll see what kind of time, Matthew, what kind of time Thomas can do. This 73 team have run quite well at Daytona in the past. We'll see what they can do here in this lap, or on this lap.
Now, I'm not sure what to expect, really. This team have really entered they didn't get their entry in until the back half of sign-up, so not sure what to expect from this team. 183 through the corner there, up to a 4 and E5. More importantly, it's going to be down the back straightaway to see what kind of time this 73 car can really pull off.
190, tickling 191, heading off into turn 3. So this will be, we'll see what kind of time. This will be close to where the others have been so far. So all 4 of the drivers that need to race their way in haven't really put their best foot forward here in this session so far, as Thomas in the 73, a 47.922. That is slowest of everybody. So that will mean that Thomas will have to go to the duel to determine her fate in terms of making the Daytona 500. The Season 4 Daytona 500 champion and the Season 2, Season 4 Series champion hits the track. Brandon Bent in the 27, the fan favourite. Be a few hashtags maybe going throughout on Twitter tonight. We'll get Bent for Brandon. But this guy, 9-time race win, 2-time series champion, talked about that. And a very, very good driver here on these super speedways, Matt. He's very, very talented, very, very popular, and in what has been historically the best team here in DW Motorsports.
Yeah, I mean, historically, all-time great team, all-time popular driver. Get Bent from Mr. Brandon Bent here with pleasure. But, he's going to take this subway machine, and like I said, the same with a lot of these guys. I don't know if he's going to be the number one threat for the pole, although this car is moving down the back straightaway here. But he's definitely going to be a big heavy hitter in the race. And we'll be looking forward to, both the duels as well. He's got a dual race to be in. But it will be a lot of fun to see what he can do here in this 27. And he is flying around this racetrack.
We'll see what kind of time he could do. It's not quite going to be the pole time that we saw from Fridge. We'll see where he slots in. 180 across the line. 47.701. So he goes 9th quickest. So he's between Dorn and Gifford at the moment in the 27. So interesting time. We'll see where he stacks up at the end of it all. He's actually been out-qualified by Collin Denton. So there you go. But the number 27 will be fast on race day, I would imagine. So we'll see what he does in the duels and then the 500. Here he is. One of the guys that is expected to be a championship contender this year, Noah Clifton for Nicotech Racing. This is actually quite interesting because we're going to have Julio Cesar up next. We're going to have all 4 of the Nicotech cars out very, very quickly here in the single car qualifying. So pre-season testing didn't really go the way they would have hoped. But this number 13 won the Coke 600 last year, Rookie of the Year, finished 7th in points. He's expected to make a big impact this year in this team. And Ladovic, we see this car right now, this 13. What do you expect from this lap, and what are you expecting of this team given their prowess?
Well, for this race, I expect them to be subpar. Just don't seem to have the right setup, or that they might set up. I guess philosophy in mind. Because right now it doesn't look great. Even the 2 cars that went out. Yes, well, Raleigh was fine, but Miller was awful. But yes, for the championship though, they should be pretty good. No, Clifton's a good driver. I expect, top 10 in the standings at least. And that team's gonna be very competitive. So we'll see. Actually, this seems like a competitive time.
I'll tell you what, it's more than a competitive time. This is going to be right up there as one of the best we've seen because he's flying around. He got to 193 down the back. Let's see here. Noah Clifton, number 13, did very well here at Daytona last year. 47.398. So he goes 4th quickest. So he is ahead of Kian Raleigh. It's pretty close, but he was just able to get to 4th position. So that's a pretty good lap. That time of Fridge is still standing up. Ladovic, we're going to let you go because you're going to have to go prepare for single car qualifying later on. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah, see ya.
Here's the number 26 of Julio Cesar, a guy who's won here at Daytona before, but in the 400 miler, not the 500. But he's more than capable of going out there and putting a pretty good lap together. Of course, we just saw Clifton go 4th quick. I actually just realised I haven't updated that, but anyway, we'll get that sorted. That's not an issue for you guys because you've got the graphics on the screen at the moment, so that should be updated. Matthew, we saw what Clifton was able to do in the 13 last time around, and Raleigh's also top 5 at the moment. So, what do you think? Do you think the 26 can get up and push towards what the 20 was able to do?
Not entirely sure there. It does give me confidence that the Hondas are good at least for single car runs here, and Julio Cesar there. Looking 186 off of turn 2, but he'll need to get into at least the 194s to even match the 20s lap here.
Yeah, and he goes down into turn 3 at 191. Carries that around for a fair while now, down to 190. So this won't be up with Clifton and Raleigh, I would think. We'll see where he slots into in this 26. Through the tri-oval, 188. 47.828, so actually quite a ways away. So he is 14th quickest overall. So he's slower than Eagan and Rose. So that's the first time we've seen a guy that is locked in that's actually slower than the guys that have to race their way in, which is very fascinating. So tough luck there for the 26. We'll see how he goes in the 500. Here comes a guy that needs to qualify or race his way into the Daytona 500, Eric Monaco, with the number 42. A true rookie to the series, a true rookie to channel, given that he's never made a start in any of the officially sanctioned series, Matt. He has won a Daytona 500 elsewhere, while a Cup Series in the most recent past. What do you think he's capable of here in the 42, here in this session?
Well, we know Monaco's the kind of guy who knows how to get it done here at Daytona when the lights are brightest. So if there is somebody who could upset here and put it on the front row, race his way into the field, or speed his way into the field, it is Eric Monaco in this 42. But coming down the front straightaway, not looking bad, but not looking amazing so far. Into the corners, he's holding decent speed, but it's definitely not on pace with what we've seen the front row starters picking up a little bit of speed now, though. Picking up some speed. I'll just have to see what he can wind this thing up to when he hits the front straightaway.
Absolutely, 190 at the moment. We'll see. He's going to get to 191. Can he get to 192? No, he will not. I thought Caesar's time last time, I didn't think it was going to be that far away, actually. So, not going to hold my breath here at the moment, but we'll see where he goes. He's not going to be on the, anywhere towards the front, but will he be quicker than Eagan and Rose? 47.814. He is not. So Monaco will have to qualify his way into the Daytona 500 through the duels on Thursday night. Lenard Kocsmar in the 03 for Team Williams. Who has to qualify his way in. The time to beat at the moment is a 47.791 for him. Currently set by Bryce Eagan. The 03 looking to make his way in. Kansas winner in the GRL. But otherwise had a bit of a drop-off later in the season. Just said goodbye to Matt Tuck as well, Team Velostar owner. Duncan Ward's about to go out here in a few cars, so he's gone back down the pit stall to take a look at the 54. And then Matthew, this is your last one before you have to go, because you're getting in the car and getting ready to go. What are you gonna hope to see here from Kocsmar on this lap, and then I don't know, maybe translate it into your lap?
Not entirely sure right now. We'll have to get a good sub here. For the 03 of Lenard Kocsmar here, this is gonna be a pretty good lap here. 189 out of turn 2. This is gonna be a quick lap.
This is gonna be a super lap. He's already at 193, 194.
94.
This is going to go to the top of the board. If it's not top, it'll go second, because this is a super lap from Lenard Kocsmar. This could be enough to get him into the Daytona 500. It's clearly going to beat Caleb Rose's time. Let's see where he goes in the 03. Makes his way through the trial 192. This is going to the top of the board. Lenard Kocsmar, 47.001. What a lap from the 03. And that could well lock him into the Daytona 500. Matthew, you got to take those learnings from that lap, because that was a super lap. Good luck with your lap, and we'll see you out there in a couple of cars.
Wow.
Here's the number 44 of John Andrews for Monkey Racing, the first of the Monkey Racing Toyotas was seen out on track. And I tell you what, that lap from Lenard Kocsmar could well win them the pole. That was a sensational lap from the 03 just then. And right now he's a long, for comparison, he's 7.5 tenths just about ahead of the next best car that has to qualify its way in. That's how good of a lap the Kocsmar did. It's going to take some serious laps to beat that, particularly by guys like John Andrews, who need to qualify his way in. Andrews is one of those guys that does need to qualify his way in. This is not going to do it. It's certainly not going to get past Kocsmar. It's going to be close here with Rose, because the difference between Rose and Kocsmar at the moment, the 03's lap is staggering. 7.5 tenths between those two guys, and he's nearly 2 tenths up on Richard Fridge's time, which I thought was just about untouchable. That was a ridiculous lap. But here's John Andrews. This lap isn't going to be. I don't think he's going to get him in. No, 48.058. He's a second off Lenard Kocsmar's time, and by far and away the slowest here in this session. So he'll have to rely on racing his way in via the duels. Next car out, Addison Steinbach in the number 98. He's our 21st driver out here in this session, and he is locked into the Daytona 500. Third season for Steinbach. His first season at DW Motorsports. Season 4, he was at Maley Motorsports. Finished top 5 in the Daytona 500. And then last year, didn't start the season. Either season, he actually started. Was he scheduled to be the starting driver, the guy to start the season? Is what I'm trying to say. But got a call up for the Daytona 500 at the last minute. That worked out quite well for him in season 4. And then replaced Patrick Fabian, who was cut by Premier Racing Motorsports last year. And then it was basically a straight swap with Jake Rogers. In this 98, Rogers goes to Premier Racing Motorsports. Steinbach now fills his void at DW Motorsports. And this is going to be a good lap. This is going to be up there. It's not going to be Kocsmar, but it will be close-ish. I want to say he'll be around 3rd or so. We'll see what kind of time he can deliver here in the 98. Crosses the line now, 189, 47.370. So he slots into 4th position. So just misses out on 3rd by 0.002 of a second. Still a very good lap time for Addison Steinbach. Duncan Ward here for Team Velocista is the next car out. And just spoke to Matt Tuck before, of course. He was on the call for a little bit there. And this car is the last Honda out of the racetrack. It was the quickest Honda in pre-season testing, and mixed fortunes at the moment because Clifton and Raleigh have done a decent job, 6th and 7th, and then Julio Cesar, for example, has really struggled. So we'll see where the 54 falls in this qualifying session. 182 as he approaches the line, 182 across the line. So it's not quite gotten up to the speed that's required. 183 off into turn 1. Now the good news is for Duncan Ward, and this time's not going to cut it. He's not going to come anywhere close. But the good news is for Duncan Ward is that he is locked into the 500. So he doesn't have to worry about this too much. It's all about getting yourself in position for the 500. 191 into turn 190. Yeah, this is going to be one of the slower times. It's amazing, though. The difference. A lot of these guys, that are locked in, have actually run better times than the guys that have to race there, qualify their way in. Outside of Kocsmar, who's just lit the world on fire. That's a 47.927. That is 2nd slowest and 21st of 22 cars for Duncan Ward. Here is Matthew Hubert in the number 8 for Hair Gel Motorsports, who we obviously had on the call there for a fair while. Thank you to Matthew for hopping in for a little bit here before he goes out and puts together what he's hoping a fast lap time. He is locked into the Daytona 500. He does not have to worry about that. And this number 8 for Hair Gel Motorsports. Just hoping to put together a nice lap time. And to see where he ends up. 182 across the line. That's not really how fast you want to be going. 183, no. This is not going to be a great lap time either here for Matthew Hubert. So 184, 85, 86. So this will be another one of these slow times, which I think will be disappointing for Hubert. But again, the good thing is he's locked in the 500, does not have to worry about it. And, I think the thing, you look at, like, John Andrews. John Andrews is a 48.058. It was just all the time from Duncan Ward, the 47.927. They're almost 2 seconds off what they did in the pre-season test. But, based on the way they ran in the pre-season test, you'd think that these cars will be a lot more competitive in the draft. A 47.891. That is 20th position for Matthew Hubert. Kelly Lee in the number 76 for Premier Racing Motorsports. Their second car out on the racetrack here tonight. We've already seen Rogal Dorn earlier on. And as for Kelly Lee here in the 76, led a lot of laps in the GRL Daytona 500s. Finished, I think, 2nd here back in Season 3 to Tyson Gifford. So it does like this racetrack. But not off to a great start there with 182. And this is fascinating, isn't it? 184, so a little bit slower. Took a little while to get up perhaps up to as much speed. 184 now. So we'll see what kind of time she can do here for the rest of the lap, because it'll slow across the line. But it looks like now it's got the car wound up a little bit. A lot of laps, as I said, in the 500, the GRL Daytona 500. 29 of them, in fact. Does like this racetrack. And this is a car I think that could win the 500 very easily, if all goes well. 17th in points last season as well. Just missed out on the chase. Almost got a couple of wins. Finished second at Las Vegas and Homestead. Just fell a little bit short in those races at 47.734. That is enough to go 14th quickest for Kelly Lee. Here's the third of 4 Seminole Motors cars. Max Davis in the number 6. DeWalt Toyota. We've already seen Richard Fridge and Nicolas Samudio go out there, and they're putting pretty respectable times. Both currently inside the top 10. Of course, Fridge second. Currently is on the front row for the Daytona 500. But Davis, we talked about, won at Oregon for this team in the SRL a couple of years ago. Finished 11th in the GRL points. Had a bit of bad luck down the stretch. Probably could have won at Charlotte late on in GRL. It wasn't quite to be for him, and he's gone 182 across the line, 183. And this is not going to be a great lap time either. So it's interesting to see the difference in the way that some of these cars approach their laps. The 6 of Davis is locked into the 500, so he doesn't have to worry about this. Not too much. We'll see where he comes out. It'll be definitely the slowest of the 3 Seminole Toyotas so far. We'll see how far down the order he is at the moment. Well, that looks alright out of turn 4, but 189, 188 now. Crosses the line, and 47.824. So he's barely ahead of Julio Cesar in 19th position for the number 6 of Max Davis. Here is Gerrard Oran in the number 99 for NS Racing. The first of the NS Racing Fords out on track. Of course, this team won the Daytona 500 last year with Eli Bright, or last season, I should say, with Eli Bright. This is Oran's third full-time season. It's his 5th in general. He's been an owner-driver across a couple of seasons 3 and 4. He's a 2-time Cup Series winner. He also won in the GRL with this team in the 99. In fact, he did so well with this team in the GRL, they picked him up for the 99 in this series. So we'll see what he could do here at Daytona. Can't quite carry as much speed through the ties. Was carried more speed than certain other drivers, but couldn't quite keep it at 185. This is going to be a better lap than what we've seen in the recent past with guys like Davis and Hubert and Ward. It gets to 193 into turn 3. It's not going to be top. It's not going to be second. It's not going to be front row. So in the end, we'll see where it puts the 99. 190 carries 190 a fair while into the tri-oval. A 47.433. That's enough to go to 8th position for Gerrard Oran. So good lap time there by the 99. Next down here is Will Parrish in the number 11 for Gratton Autosport, the budget Ford, with the budget leaderboard on the left side of your screen. Still showing Lenard Kocsmar on top of the board. Parrish got a couple top 5s in the GRL. Had a tough season both GRL and SRL. But got picked up at the last minute by Gratton Autosport, and here he is in the number 11. 183, 182. He's got up to 184. Now, he has to qualify his way in, or race his way in, either or. And the time to beat at the moment is a 47.747. Set by Caleb Rose. Now, this time is not going to get him anywhere near Kocsmar. It's not going to get him on the front row. So let's see here, the 11. Let's see how he goes in comparison to the 32, because that's the guy he needs to beat right now if he wants to lock his way into the Daytona 500. He carries 191. He's 190 through turn 4. Gets down to 189. Back at 190 for a split second, and now 189 again. This is going to be close. Let's see. Will Parrish goes into the second position, well, in terms of the guys that need to race his way, and he goes overall Actually does a pretty good job. 13th, that is enough at the moment to lock his way into the 500, but he's still got a lot of cars to come, including our next two drivers. Car number 69, Ethan Lewis for Monkey Racing is the next car out. And we've already seen the Monkey Racing number 44 at John Andrews. He's still the slowest driver, 27 cars in. This is number 28. Like Andrews and his teammate Alejandro Cruz is up next. Lewis will have to qualify or race his way into the Daytona 500. Of course, that order's now been changed. The who's where in that. Of course, Kocsmar's still on top of the board and still in very, very good position to obviously make his way into the Daytona 500. But Will Parrish now has moved into that second spot. So the time to beat now for Lewis is a 47.697. And that would be enough for him to... If he could get a quicker time than that, then that would be enough to put him in position at the moment to make the Daytona 500. And this is going to be good. This is going to be a good lap. This is a good start here. He's able to get 187 out of turn 2. Was it quicker than what we're seeing from Parrish? Certainly quicker through 1 and 2. He gets to 192. Can't quite get to 193. But this is promising here for Lewis. 191, 190. He remains 190. I think this is going to be a quicker time than Parrish. We'll see where he goes. Ethan Lewis crosses the line now. A 47.598. That puts him 12th quickest, and that is faster than Lewis. So, than Will Parrish. So Ethan Lewis now in position to make the Daytona 500. Well, we just saw Ethan Lewis go to the 12th position and put himself currently lock himself into the Daytona 500. Well, here's his other teammate, Alejandro Cruz, who is looking to knock him out of that position. Time to beat now a 47.598 for Alejandro Cruz. It was a very good lap time by Lewis, or a pretty good lap time I should say. It was a pretty good lap time, getting 12th quickest. We'll see if Cruz can do anything about that. Already this looks like a better time than some of the others we've seen. Certainly the one that comes to mind is John Andrews. As for Cruz himself, we talked about he was a race winner in the Samsung Offline Racing League. Had a really rough GRL season where he finished second last in points. But reuniting with this team that he won at Chicagoland with in the SRL, he'll be hoping for... hoping to get back to kind of that form that he had. And this is going to be close here because he got to 192 down the back. He's wound that car up as this run has gone along. This is going to be very, very close here. Between the teammates, Alejandro Cruz crossing the line. No. 47.627. Just misses out by about 0.03 of a second to his teammate. So he goes 13th quickest in the 46. So Alejandro Cruz will have to race his way into the Daytona 500 through the duels. We're up to our 30th car here in this session, and it's the runner-up in the championship in Season 5, Benny Watson for NS Racing. After this one, we'll have 16 cars to go, so still a fair few cars left here in this session, but it's worked our way through this, I think, quite well. Watson second in the points last season and finished top 10 in the GRL Championship as well. Got a couple of wins there. Won at Nashville, broke that really long losing streak back in that Nashville race in 2020, was it 2021 in Season 5. So hoping to take it a step further and win the championship this year for this team, NS Racing. The underdog tag has really kind of disappeared going into this season. They are officially part of the teams to watch. And this is going to be an interesting lap here for Watson because this is going to put him up in that top half. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get him. It won't be enough to get him the pole, obviously, given what Kocsmar did was just ludicrous. I mean, Kocsmar, for comparison, so Watson just hit 192 going into turn 3. Kocsmar was 194. There's a remarkable lap time from the driver of the 03. But here's Watson. We'll see where he puts himself here in the order. It'll be an okay lap of 47.652. So that will put him, about right on halfway. So 15th out of 30 cars here. So right in the middle of the pack at the moment for Benny Watson. Car number 52, Charlie Davenport for Hairgel Motorsports, is the next car out on the racetrack. Gamebridge Chevrolet, a Davenport, as I talked about in the pre-season testing. Only the one career top 10 in this series, and that was in the finale race of Season 5 at Homestead, where he actually finished 5th. So, a bit of momentum. He got better as the year went on in Season 5. He finished, I think, top 25 in points from memory. And now in his second season, hoping to really take it to another level and put himself more consistently in that top group of cars and top 10s, top 15s more consistently. This one's not going to be a pole time straight away, but it's not going to be a 184. He's carrying that around. He wasn't able to get 185 until kind of entering turn 2. But we'll see where he goes down the back stretch. Let's see what kind of time he can put together what kind of speed he can put together down the back. 192. So this will be, if I had to guess, maybe just slightly slower than Benny Watson's time, which we just saw, which was a 47.652. Of course, Davenport locked into the 500, so he's got no issues in that regard. Through the tri-oval now. And, yeah, right behind him, 47.656 for 1,000ths, or 4,000ths of a second, I should say, between the 96 and 52. Next car out is Alex Sanvitale, who is a teammate of Charlie Davenport this season. And Sanvitale, I'm recording this well before the preseason test goes up, but I can imagine he was pretty happy with how the test went for the 37. Put that car third quickest in the session. We'll see what he can do now in this qualifying run, although this is going to be I don't think I've seen a 181 across the line as of yet, so this may not be a great lap here for Alex Sanvitale. Good news for him, he is locked into the 500, so he does not have to worry about missing the show. But this is going to be right towards the bottom. This is going to be challenging the John Andrews time, which is a 48.058 as the slowest time in this session. It does get to 191 heading into turn 3. But this is not going to be a great lap here for the 37. Let's see where he ends up. Now to turn 4. 188 now. Can he hang 188? No, it goes to 187. This is going to be a tough time. It's a 47.961. So he goes to 31st quickest overall. And he is ahead of John Andrews, so he's not last, but... yeah, really bad first run there, unfortunately, for Alex Sanvitale. Christian Vargas is the next car out here in the Premier Racing Motorsports number 36. We've already seen Rogal Dorn, we've already seen Kelly Lee, who are both kind of running middle of the pack at the moment. Vargas has not had a good history, at all in this series, but especially at super speedways. His record here is absolutely horrendous. And the thing that I most remember about Vargas here at Daytona, anyway, is he was flipping end over end, not even barrel rolling, just flipping end over end down the front straight in the tri-oval in the 400-mile race in Season 5. I drove for Fitzroy Australia Racing then. He drove for CBF Motorsports the year before. He's only had 2 top 10s in 50 starts in the series, but this is by far and away the best opportunity he's gotten. The best car he's driven, and this is not going to put him on the front row or anything like that, but this is going to be an okay time. We'll see where it puts him. He was able to get to 192 down the back. A little bit perhaps slow to start, but we'll see where he ends up. And that is our first tie of the session between Vargas and Davenport. I don't know who would get the tiebreak off the top of my head. It would be based on the owner points from last season, which, if I remember correctly, I think went to Davenport. But you will see the graphic on the left side of your screen would have the correct order. So for Vargas, a 47.656. Logan Williams here in the 33 for Team Williams. Is of course the sister car of the fast man at the moment, Lenard Kocsmar. Williams, like Kocsmar, will have to qualify or race his way in and shown speed on these super speedways. So if the 03 was any indicator, we might see a good time here from the 33 as well. And just quickly, You would have seen the graphic already, but the tiebreaker did go to Charlie Davenport over Christian Vargas. So Vargas at the end of that previous lap is 17th, and Charlie Davenport is 16th. And this is a really good lap already. 185 across the line. This is going to be right up there. He can't quite get to 187 into turn 1 there, but he does get to 187 through turn 2, and this is going to be a serious lap time as well. So Team Williams, who were very quick at Daytona in the GRL, have put together some very fast race cars. 194 down the backstretch, and I'll tell you what, this could be a front row lockout for these two Team Williams Dodgers, because these two are very, very quick. He gets down to 192 out of turn 4. This is going to be right up there. This will be enough to get him in. He'll jump past Ethan Lewis. Logan Williams for his brother's team. 47.101. That is the front row for Team Williams. They are now first and second. Kocsmar, then Williams. How about that for this team? How about that for Andrew Williams' team? They've got 2 cars currently in the Daytona 500. Well, we've just seen Logan Williams jump to the top of, to the second position, I should say. The Team Williams lock out the front row of the grid. Well, here is the reigning pole sitter at the Daytona 500. 5-time race winner from Season 5, Alexander Rowe. Knows how to get it done in these situations. Can he deliver for Gifford Technologies Incorporated and get them another Daytona 500 pole? We'll see what he can do here. This black Jack Daniels, number 51. Come down to the line now, and it will not be the case, I think, here for Rowe, although this will be up there in terms of time, although he couldn't quite get to 185 heading into the turn. Williams, for the record, was heading off into the turn about 186. So the 33 was exceptionally quick. Kocsmar's time was unbelievable, and it still is. There's only 3 drivers that have got into the 47.2s, let alone, into the 47.1s. I mean, there's a remarkable effort. And this time from Rowe is not quite going to be enough to back up that pole from Season 5, but it's still going to be a pretty good lap time here, I think. Crosses the line now, and a 47.563. So, it's alright. Alright kind of time. He goes 13th quickest in the number 51. Next car out here is Travis Crampton for NS Racing. This is their 3rd car. We've already seen Gerrard Oran, we've already seen Benny Watson, and here's the rookie on the team in Crampton, who is locked into the 500, does not have to worry about having to qualify his way in. He will be racing next week. Well, later this week, I should say. Number 97. Let's see what he can do. Time to beat, of course, is a 47.001. Team Williams currently locking out the front row. I'm doing some research right now, and I'll get this information back if it remains to be the case, because it would be a significant moment, all things considered. Now, this time from Crampton is not going to challenge the front row. So his fate will be sealed in the duels as to where he'll be starting the 500 in the duels. You can never say that right. Duels. We'll see where the 97 can go. Oran is 9th quickest. Watson's 17th. So let's see where he ends up in all this. So 192 heading off into turn 3. This will be close to what Rowe just did, where he got a 47.5. Rowe's, of course, 13th at the moment. So this will be close-ish to that time, I reckon. Might be a bad first effort. And it's cramped across the line at 47.608. So right in between Lewis and Cruz. So he goes 15th quickest in the 97. We're into the final stages here in qualifying for the Daytona 500. We're into the final 10 cars in this session. And 5 of these last 10 are all guys that have to qualify or race their way into the Daytona 500. The first of which is Josh Williamson in the number 1. He has to qualify, race his way in. And the time to beat at the moment to get into that position is a 47.101. Williamson finished 4th in the GRL points, got a win at Indianapolis, and put together a good lap in Group 2. I don't think it's not going to be enough here to get to that qualify in on speed. So it's not going to be the case for the one. He's going to have to go through the duels. And for comparison, right, so Logan Williams, a 47.101, the next best out of the guys that have to qualify their way in. Ethan Lewis, 14th, is about nearly half a second off Logan Williams, and is nearly 6/10 off Lenard Kocsmar. Just for comparison's sake, just to compare the two. So let's see here in terms of Williams and where he goes. Again, this is an okay lap, so it's probably put him in the top half of the field for now. I dropped away late. Field 47.713. That puts him 23rd. So second half of the field for the one. He's got some work to do in the duels. Here's Carlos Sastre in the number 59 for Fitzwater Australia Racing. Won the pole in the GRL Daytona 500 last year. And he won at Nashville later on in the season. Did finish 18th in points though. But if Roberto Crown's time was anything to go by, this number 59, who needs to qualify his way into the 500, might be on for a decent time. Now, that's a good start. He did touch 186. So this will be a pretty good lap time. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get the 33. He's already 191 down the back. This is going to be up there. 193. Can he touch 194? Not quite. So 193 into the turns. I don't think this is going to be good enough to get him on the front row, because that's what's at the moment. That's what's required for this 59 if he wants to lock his way into the 500 tonight. I don't think it's going to happen. Across the line, a 47.312. That's fourth quickest for Kyler Sastre, and yet he is 2/10 off locking his way into the Daytona 500. Such is the speed of the 03 and the 33, but still very good time for the 59. Promising for the duels in a few nights' time. Jack Haas in the 00 for Team Williams. This is their third and final car, and there is no pressure whatsoever on the 00 because currently Team Williams have got a front row lockout. So there's no pressure on Jack Haas whatsoever. Like his two teammates, he has to qualify or race his way into the Daytona 500, and that is nowhere near it. That is nowhere near it. 181, 182, 183. This is not going anywhere near the front of the grid. So for Jack Haas, he'll have to go through the duels. There's no doubt about that. Even compared to Sastre, I mean, Sastre was 185, 186 heading off into turn one. So such is the difference of speed. But, Haas, for Jack Haas, it might be a case where the car's better in the draft, perhaps, because he had the fastest time in pre-season testing. So let's see here with the 00 where he ends up. It's not going to be anywhere near the front, and he'll have to qualify his way in through the duels. But where specifically does he end up? Well, it's not going to be a good lap time. 47.889. That's 8/10 off. That's nearly 9/10 off Kocsmar and nearly 8/10 off Williams. A massive discrepancy between the 00 and his two teammates. Got Team Williams. Here is the Season 5 champion, Tristan Allen in the number 14, the reigning series champion. Got a win at Texas and lots of consistent finishes in Season 5. And despite a little mishap late on pit road at Homestead in the finale, was able to win the championship by 4 points over Benny Watson. He put together a pretty good lap time in his session. You know, it's funny with Jack Haas being just going out before. He was the quickest man in Group 2. We've still got, 8 cars that put together excellent, 7 cars I should say. 7 cars who put together excellent lap times at they put together excellent lap times in Group 1. This is not going to be one of those laps for Tristan Allen. So he's got 181 across the line, 182 and then 183 into turn 1. This is not going to be one of those laps. So to be honest with you, it is very, very hard to see Kocsmar and Williams being dislodged from the front row. And the stat that I was working on, no team has ever locked out the front row of the Daytona 500. It has never happened. So it would be a bit of history for Team Williams if they were to do so in their first attempt. As this time, Tristan Allen's going to be towards the back in his duel. It's going to be a remarkable thing to consider, but that's what's going to happen here. A 47.936. That is 38th quickest for Tristan Allen. That is not what anybody anticipated from this number 14. The reigning Daytona 500 winner in this series is Eli Bryce, and he is the next car out in this 95 for NS Racing, who have put together some okay times throughout the session. Gerrard Oran 10th at the moment, Crampton is 16th, and Benny Watson 19th. Eli Bryce had a lot of success in Speed Weeks, won the 500, he mentioned Season 5, won the dual race in Season 4, and he won the Audi Shootout at the time in Season 3. And he likes this track. Let's see what kind of time he could do. 183 across the line, 184. Can he get to 185? He does. I don't think this is going to be a front row start for this 95, but no, it's 184. So this won't be a front row start, but this will be certainly, I would think, in the top half, all things considered, for Eli Bright, which I don't think he'd be too upset with. And of course, Bright made the chase back in Season 5, a career year for him and for, of course, this team, NS Racing. We talked about at length what they were able to do. 192 through 3 and 4. Let's see where he goes across the line now. Heading through the tri-oval here, the 95, Eli Bright, 47.470. That is enough to go 12th quickest for Eli Bright. So about where his teammates have been basically in the session. So decent time there for the 95 of Eli Bright. Number 23, Ludovic Charette for Gratton Autosport. Like her teammates, has to qualify her way in. We're into the last 5 cars in this session now. And Charette, with Rogers, Nathan Smith, Thomas Truxell, and Gore. If Ludovic Charette cannot outqualify Lenard Kocsmar here, Kocsmar will be locked into the Daytona 500. And if Charette can outqualify the 03, she would be the one that would be locked into the Daytona 500 and would knock Logan Williams out in the process. 183, 184 across the line, 185. It's a good start for Charette, but it's not going to be enough by the looks of it. Won't be enough to knock off either the 03 or the 33. But this will still be a pretty good time for the 23. So she will have to race her way in through the duels in a couple of days' time. Of course, great to have her in the booth as well with Matthew Hubert and Matt Tuck as well earlier in the session. 192, 191. It's going to be a pretty good time. I think this will be top 10 for Charette in general. It's just a matter of where in the top 10 and across the line. A 47.378. And that will be enough for 7th quickest for Charette. It's not enough to lock her into the Daytona 500, but it's a pretty nice position to be in at the moment in that number 23. We're down to our final 4 here in the single car qualifying. Thanks for sticking around. Been a long, long night. Jake Rogers is in this number 40. Made the switch in the off-season after 4 years at TW Motorsports. 4 very successful years. We won 10 races across the journey. Now with this Premier Racing Motorsports team, and we've got a couple of Dodgers already on the front row. Rogers wants to put himself on the front row here for Premier Racing Motorsports, and this is a pretty good start to the lap. Couldn't get up to 186. He's back down 184, so that's going to hurt him. 186. This will still be a pretty good time. Lenard Kocsmar, by the way, is locked into the Daytona 500 on the basis of Charette not quite being quick enough in that previous run. As Rogers 193 off into turn number 3. And he should be there or thereabouts. I think he'll be top 10. I want to say he'll be top 10 here as he comes down to cross the start-finish line now through the tri-oval. 47.438. He's just outside the top 10 at the moment in that number 40. Goes 12th quickest. And number 40, still a decent position to be in. It's got decent speed in that car. Nathan Smith in the number 25 for Seminole Motors. It's the third last car to go out. Put together a pretty good lap time in pre-season testing. It was part of that big pack that formed and got a good run. And here he is now, that number 25, hoping to put this car on the front row. He is locked into the 500, so doesn't have to worry about having to race his way in. And let's see what the number 25 could do here as he makes his way across the line now. Start his lap, and 182, that's not going to do it. So you can really get that car wound up, and that's not going to be the case. So we'll see where Smith goes in terms of where he ends up, because this is not going to put him on the anywhere near the top 10. It's funny though, his teammate Richard Fridge, who was the second car out in this session, had the second slowest time in pre-season testing. He's put together a 47.194. Only the two Williams Dodgers have been better in that regard. So Richard Fridge has done a very nice job there in car 20. Won't be a front row start in the 500, but should be pretty proud of himself. Nathan Smith, 27 through the tri-oval. This is going to be a bad lap, 47.887 for Nathan Smith. And that is enough to go 37th out of what is now 44 cars. So not a great lap there for the number 25. Thomas Troxell on the 62 is the second last car out, and he is the last of the drivers that needs to qualify or race his way into the Daytona 500. We know that Lenard Kocsmar, who's currently on the pole, provisional pole at the moment, he's into the Daytona 500. And if Troxell, it'll be either Troxell or Williams, depending on if the 62 can beat a 47.101. That has been a very hard time to beat. For Pacific Racing, whose two cars currently way down the order, they would love to get Troxell and could just make sure that he's locked into the Daytona 500. Let's see, as he starts his flying lap, 183 across the line. It's not bad. Probably needs to get to 186, and that's not going to happen. He's just stuck at seemingly a high 184, and he's now 185. So this will not do it. So this means a couple of things. Unless Troxell just completely lights it up here in this second half of the lap, which it doesn't look like he will, it means that Logan Williams will be locked into the 500 as well. It means that Kocsmar and Williams will be those two drivers. And what it will also mean is that Lenard Kocsmar, at the bare minimum, will start on the front row for the Daytona 500. Let's see where Troxell goes in the 62. Finished the lap strongly, but 47.517. It's 17th quickest for Thomas Troxell. So it's not a bad time, but his fate will be determined in the duels in a couple of nights' time. Let's get to Henrik Waugh. He's the last driver out in the number 71. Final car is in his pit stall and ready to go. Henrik Waugh here in the number 71, who was quickest in the pre-season test last week. He is the last car out, and right now we know that Lenard Kocsmar will start on the front row in the number 03. Logan Williams is hoping to make it a Team Williams front row lockout, the first time a team would ever lock out the front row of the Daytona 500. Henrik Waugh looking to break through and get that break that stranglehold and get onto the front row of the grid. We do know that both Kocsmar and Williams will be in the 500 regardless of what happens in the duels. And I will need to look through, because I can't quite calculate it in my head at the moment, as to who will be in what duel and if anyone will need to be rearranged, which could well be the case. It depends, of course, as well as to what Henrik Ward does here on this lap. Gifford Technologies Incorporated. An interesting night. Dominic Anthony's 5th quickest in this session. Alexander Rowe is 18th and Tyson Gifford is 29th. So, mixed bag of fortunes for Gifford Technologies Incorporated tonight. Let's see if Henrik Ward can put this 71 on the pole as the last car out here in this Daytona 500. Time to beat to win the pole is a 47.001. Time to get on the front row. Need to be better than a 47.101. So let's see what he could do here. He makes his way down the front. 182 through the tri-oval. He doesn't hit 183. Now he does. And I don't think this will cut it out. I don't think it'll be the case. No, 184. Heading off into 1-2. That's not going to do it. So, after all of this, several hours, thank you to everyone anyone who's still tuning into this point. So those of you who skipped ahead, thank you. After all this, it'll be a Team Williams front row in the Daytona 500. Lenard Kocsmar and Logan Williams. Kocsmar will win the pole. Logan Williams will start on the outside of the front row. Henrik Ward's coming down through the tri-oval. This won't be top 10. Let's see, a 47.728. He'll end up 30th. He actually ends up behind his teammate Tyson Gifford, so not to beat for the 71. It's Lenard Kocsmar on the pole for the Daytona 500. His first career start in the series. He will lead them to the green with his teammate Logan Williams alongside for Team Williams. What a great story that is. And a magnificent performance from Team Williams. And you'll see the results on your screen in a moment. So here are the final results from single car qualifying here in the Daytona 500. Team Williams lock out the front row with Lenard Kocsmar on the pole and Logan Williams to start alongside. Those two have qualified their way into the Daytona 500, and they've done it in style by locking out the front row. What a night for Andrew Williams and that team. And well done to Richard Fridge as well, who won't start on the front row, but he did a very, very good job going third quickest. He was the second car out. He ended up third quickest. Nice job by the 20. Carlos Sastre, also very impressive, but wasn't to be for him. He'll have to make his way in through the dual sessions, the dual races, I should say. Dominic Anthony and Addison Steinbach, 5th and 6th. Ludovic Charette, 7th place. It's not a bad effort, I would think, for the 23. We'll start in duel number 1. Have to make her way in through that event. Roberto Crown Jr, nice job as well to be 8th. And then Clifton and Raleigh, the two Nicotech Hondas, inside the top 10. Gerrard Oran in 11th, ahead of Jake Rogers, Nicolas Samudio, Eli Bright, Collin Denton, Daniel Paulus Jr. Then Thomas Troxell. So Troxell will have to make his way in through the duels as well. In the number 62. Alexander Rowe, the pole sitter from last year's 500, a lot further down the order this time around, from the 18th position, so he's got some work to do in his duel. Ethan Lewis in the 69 held on to that final position for a little bit there, but wasn't to be for him. He will have to go through the duels as well if he wants to make the Daytona 500. And Travis Crampton will start, qualified 20th. He'll start 10th in duel 2. Alejandro Cruz in the 46, 21st overall. He'll have to make his way in through the duel as well. Rogal Dorn. Benny Watson, Charlie Davenport. Davenport with the tiebreaker over Christian Vargas. So Davenport will start 12th in Duel 2 and Vargas will start 13th in Duel number 1. So might actually work out better for the 36 in that regard, but he ended up 25th tonight. Will Parrish and Josh Williamson, 26th and 28th, will have to make their way through in the duels as well. And then those two Gifford Chevrolets, Gifford and Gore, a bit further down than perhaps they would have hoped, 29th and 30th. Another couple of drivers that were a bit further down. Kelly Lee in 31st, Dawson Miller in 32nd, and then quite a few of these guys back in here having to qualify their way in from the duels, I should say. Caleb Rose, Bryce Eagan, Eric Monaco, Bradyn Perez has got that past champions to fall back on if required, and Jack Haas, Haas a long way off his two teammates, and unlike the 03 and 33, he will have to qualify his way into the Daytona 500 through the duels. And then to round out the field, Matthew Hubert, Annie Thomas. Thomas will have to make her way in through the duels as well. Duncan Ward. Tristan Allen, the reigning Cup champion, 44th in the number 14. Alex Sanvitale and John Andrews. And as we discussed earlier, or just talked about earlier on, because the duels have an uneven number of people, John Andrews will be starting in duel number 1 and Alex Sanvitale will start in duel number 2. So those two have swapped around just to even up the numbers. So that does it here for qualifying the Daytona 500 single car qualifying. What a night for Team Williams. 2 cars race their way in, qualify their way in, and they both will start on the front row for the Daytona 500. Well done to Lenard Kocsmar, well done to Logan Williams and Andrew Williams and the entire team there. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in for the entire broadcast, or even if you just watched a minute or so, thank you for tuning in. Great to have your company, and a great big thank you to Matt Tuck, Matthew Hubert and Ludovic Charette, who popped in earlier on during the day. Great to have them as part of the broadcast here tonight. So congratulations to Logan Williams, Lenard Kocsmar and Logan Williams, and Andrew Williams as well. What a night for Team Williams. They will lead the field to green in the Daytona 500 and in the duels as well on Thursday. So looking forward to seeing everybody Thursday night for duels 1 and 2 to determine who will make the field in the Daytona 500. So for Ludovic Charette, Matt Tuck and Matthew Hubert, I'm Stuart Grant signing off from Daytona Beach, and we'll see you Thursday for the Kroger Duels.